Alright, this is for Activity 3 in Unit 1. Alright, so the pictures up here are supposed to be representations that help you visualize the equipment that we have. So the two pictures at the top, those are a top view and a side view of your socket. Alright, so if I turn this like the other picture, this is a top view of the socket. And you can see that there are two clips. This is where you put the wires on, and then each clip is connected to a plate. This clip is connected to the top plate, and then this one, this is why the side view comes in handy, is connected to that bottom plate under here. Alright? So, if you notice both pictures, I labeled the clip and plate that are above as A, and then the plate and the clip attached to it that are below is B. Alright, we're going to use that designation for the lab. Then there is also your light bulb. Alright, so if this is a easier, I would say, connection to make, but you can see the glass, my thumb is covering the threads, see the tip down at the bottom and that black ring. Alright, so what you need to do is we are going to put some of these pieces into our test circuit. So we're going to put it between those two wires there and see if it lights up the light bulbs or not. Alright, so what you need to do is you need to make predictions as to whether or not you think that's going to happen. So the first one says to touch clip A and clip B. What that means, if you look here, I'm going to put one lead on clip A, or one wire, and the other one on clip B. Alright, and then the next one says to clip A and plate A. So I'd put one wire on clip A, and then the other on plate A, and see if it closes the loop. Okay? When you get down to the bulb stuff, and it says, you know, just tip of the bulb, what that means is I need to get both wires on this little silver tip on the bottom. Alright? Or the threads. I need to get both wires on the threads. So go ahead, pause the video, and start filling that out. And when you get back, I will actually be doing the testing. Okay. So, first thing is, let's make sure our test loop is working. So, put those together and it lights. So the first thing we need to do is clip A and clip B. So there's clip A and clip B, and there is no lighting. Then we go to clip A and plate A, and it lights. Then we go to plate A and plate B. Careful not to accidentally touch the same plate, the same wire, so no lighting. Then it's plate A and the base, which is the plastic part. And then clip A and the base. Alright? So the only thing that lit was when we did clip A and plate A. So what you can do for your conclusion in reference to this part is just kind of describe what parts of the socket are conductors and insulators. You also might want to address why touching plate A and plate B, when they're both metals, or clip A and clip B, why those don't light up. Hint is right in here. So now moving on to the bulb. This is a little tricky because we want to make sure that I'm not actually touching the leads together, but just touching the tip. So there's tip and tip. So both of them on the tip of the bulb and you get lighting. Alright. Now we need to do both on the threads. You get lighting. Let's do both on the glass. And you get lighting. Sorry, there is no lighting there. Then another tricky one is making sure that this is just touching the black part. And of course not each other. And there we go. No lighting. Alright, so you can use that to kind of discuss what parts of the bulb are insulators and conductors. And then the last thing we're doing involves our little broken light bulb. And you can see that there are two wires just coming out of the light bulb. Those are called supporting wires. Usually between them there's a very, very thin piece of metal called a filament, and that filament gets really hot as electricity flows through it, and that's what makes the light bulb glow. Alright? So without that filament though, this light bulb won't work, and we're just going to test some of the connections inside the light bulb. Alright? So we're just going to designate one of these as support wire 1, and we're just going to treat that as support wire 1. Really, it doesn't matter which one is 1. Alright, but here I have it connected to one of the support wires, and then our first test is touching the tip of the bulb. So support wire 1 to the tip of the bulb does light. Now I'm going to skip over to 13 and do the threads to the first support wire and see what that one's like. That way I don't have to move this clip. Alright, so threads to support wire 1 does not light. Alright, so now we're going to go back to 12. I'm going to flip over to the other support wire. So support wire 2 and the tip, there's no lighting. And then support wire 2 and the threads, you get lighting. Alright? So now that we have everything tested, one thing that I'm going to help you with as far as this part, the reason why support wire 1 is connected to the tip and not to the threads, and then the other support wire is connected to the threads, is because of how a light bulb works. So I'm going to draw a little picture for you. And I suggest, I'm going to say, rather than suggest, I require you to actually have this on your sheet somewhere. You can either trace it into the bulb pictured, or if that's getting to be too much with all the labels, draw an extra one. Alright, so if we think of the light bulb as being like this, picturing it on the screen, there's our black ring, here are our threads, here's the glass, and here are the two standing wires, and then normally there is a very thin filament connecting the two of them. Alright? The only way you get light is if the electricity passes through the filament. Alright? So think if the electricity is coming here. So if it's coming in from the bottom, from the tip of the bulb, we're going to trace its pathway. So the tip of the bulb is always connected to which support wire? Hopefully you're saying the first one. So since we're inside the bulb and normally you wouldn't be able to see this, I want you to draw this as a dotted line, because that represents that it's inside and technically not visible to us. Alright? But then here, once we reach the first support wire, the electricity follows the support wire. So this goes up through the support wire. Then it's going to travel through the filament, which is then going to be nice and bright and give us light. Alright? And then it's going to go down through the second support wire. And then what's the second support wire connected to? Hopefully you're saying the threads. So it goes back into this area where we can't see, but doesn't go back down to the tip. Instead, it turns sideways and comes out of the threads at some point. Alright? So we can't see these when we're looking at a light bulb, but this support wire actually goes all the way down to the tip. This support wire goes into the threads and bends to send the electricity out of the threads. And this is the pathway that electricity always follows through a light bulb. The reason why this pathway occurs is because of this insulating ring. Without that ring there, the electricity could pass straight from the threads, straight from the tip into the threads and completely bypass the filament. But because this insulating ring prevents that, alright, it blocks the electricity from going straight from the tip to the threads, it forces it to follow the pathway we traced. Alright, so I will make sure this is drawn, make sure you can answer a few questions as far as like what's insulators and what's not, and then I will give you the consensus in terms in class. Thanks.